Hi, boss. You introduce yourself.
So, for those who don't know, I go by the DJ Kool Kid from New York City.
All right. Cool kid. Bring it back to where it all started for you.
It all started, let me see, as far as like DJing, music. I would say my taste of music began on an island called Trinidad in the Caribbean.
Okay.
Yeah, it started out with it was nothing hip hop. It was definitely no hip hop. It was just music. You know what I mean? A Sesame Street record. You know, was one of my introductions to vinyl. But as far as music, you know, listening was calypso, reggae. That was my world. You know. So landing in America, I wouldn't even say just New York, just in America, you know, hearing the different sounds and stuff, you know, things that I couldn't dream of. Meaning, I didn't know shit about R&B. I didn't know nothing about hip hop, you know what I mean? So when I got here and I started getting a taste of the culture and stuff like that, it was totally different. You know what I mean? Like, so for me to be sitting here even telling you about hip hop, you know, and saying this is what it is, it was like, looking back, you would have never thought it, you know what I mean?
What was the energy back then? The lifestyle, the reception from the people who didn't understand that there was a culture who were born.
You know what? I would say it was shaky, and I would say, and to that question, I would use my mother as an example, right? So here I am. I'm telling my mom, hey, you know, I want to do music. I want to, you know, I want to be a DJ. I just want to be some part of music, right? And in the '90s, of just being here, you know, what I mean, here, you know, things that were happening, her reaction wasn't, well, practice or whatever. It's like, are you gonna be safe? You know what I mean? Like, so the things that went with hip hop and, you know, was crazy. Negative. You know what I mean? Like, I hated hip hop just for what I was being told, you know what I mean, and what it supposedly stood for, you know what I mean, and not really understanding. So people, I think, you know, they were rough on it because I was one of those people. You know, and now I can't stand it. I can't, you know, it's like judging a book by its cover. You know, so hip hop then and now, it's changed texture-wise, but it's the same to me. You know, and I say that to say, you were saying how sound changes every so often, you know what I mean, which is true. You know, when a baby comes out, it's like, you can't really tell what dialect to have or how to move, you know what I mean, you just gotta let it adapt and, you know, and absorb the world. So, music for the as we're moving is the same in this time period. You know what I mean, everything's fresh as new. That's what I would give to it.
But tell us about the lifestyle back then.
The lifestyle, you know what, the lifestyle back then, I think it was really, if there was a word to really describe hip hop, it would be hip hop. The lifestyle was hip hop back then. It was carefree, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's wearing the cross colors. It was more about being about life, and, you know what I mean? The messages were totally different. And when I say different, they were straight to the point. It was energetic, energies, you know what I mean? So if you did have a handful, like, you wasn't really getting a lot of negative hip hop out there. And the ones that you thought was negative, you weren't really listening to the story behind, like the NWAs and stuff like that. There were messages in these joints, you know what I mean? So I would say it was colorful, it was fun, it was entertaining, you know what I mean? It was no social media. Together you had to go to these places and be a part of it. You know what I mean? Which was the highlight.
Right. I mean, what's the difference? Because where I'm from, a lot of people get it confused. What's the difference between a party DJ, being a DJ at a concert, and being a DJ on the radio?
So that, right? You know what? That was so funny, man. That is something I can answer now. A few years ago, I couldn't answer that question.
Okay.
You know, I was like, hey, I'm a dope mixtape DJ, right? I can come rock your party. Or I can be on the radio. A club and a radio DJ are two different people. A house DJ and a hip-hop DJ. A house DJ is a house DJ. You can have a hip-hop, reggae, R&B all in one. But a house dude is a house dude. You know what I mean? These blends, these are, you know, the transition, you have to really be a musical person. It doesn't really have, you have to be a person who's in love with music to be able to do all three. You know, I could stand here, I could play on the radio. It's totally, it would sound like it blows in a club, but once you really feel the energy, it's totally different energies. One is for sitting and driving car, and one is for movement. You know what I mean? And then one is just for orgasms, which is the mixtapes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But they give you, you got to know what room you want to go into. You know what I mean? And who you catering to. You know, that type of stuff.
Okay. Have you ever done radio before?
Yeah. You know what? Doing radio, man, was so nerve-wracking, right? And I would say because you can't see the audience. You know what I mean? So it's like, imagine being in a room with like 3 people, sometimes by yourself, right? And you just gotta talk, you just gotta, give the energy and stuff like that. It's like, damn, you're thinking about, am I okay? Am I this, that, the third? You know what I mean? So you just gotta give it your all. And sometimes just go in blindfold and say, oh, this is who I am. It's enjoyable because you get to be you. You know what I mean? Unscripted, scripted, whatever it is. That's the good part about it. Now, the politic part about it is I don't want to do this shit anymore. You know what I mean? Like, if I got to, then what the fuck am I doing? You know?
Yeah. But what, after 40 plus years, what does hip hop represent for Kool Kid today? And what has hip hop done for you?
So, today, hip hop, for me, and when I say it's a lifestyle, like everybody uses hip hop as a lifestyle, it's a form, it's a that, we get that. But for me directly, it was like a safe haven. When I say safe haven, right, it was like my form of expression. You know, like, I wasn't a dancer, I'm not a dancer, but I like sounds, I like color. This was my expression. I was able to better myself as a person, you know what I mean? Certain music, certain sounds trigger certain emotions, you know what I mean? When I go in there and I feel the vibe. So now, here I am as a DJ, and I'm feeling certain vibes of certain, you know what I mean, songs and all that. I'm painting this picture. The greatest thing is being able to express it and expand it and share it with others. And hopefully they get the same feeling that I'm getting. So once I started DJing and going to these different venues and these different arenas, or just popping up and DJing, and seeing the impression, you know what I mean, that I'm leaving with people, and you know what I mean, and the energy, that was the greatest, the greatest gift.
Okay. What do you think about hip hop and politics, like the government politics?
Hip hop and politics. So hip hop and politics, man, it's like cops and robbers, man. It's like, it's like El Chapo in the U.S. You know what I mean? It's like they want to use it for a good cause, but at the same time, they want to sweep it on the rug and condemn it and say, hey, it's responsible for X, Y, and Z. When honestly, if the politicians had gave us the right resources, in order to change and show the positive light of it. You gotta remember, hip hop music, and when I say music, hip hop comes for me of you're down, you sing. You're happy, you sing. You know what I mean? You don't have to have much, but this one thing that you have here that's yours, that nobody can take from you, right? That they can't buy and sell from you, whatever you come up with, it's your world. You know what I mean? So it's a form of upliftment to let your voice out. So hip hop is just another dialect of, you expressing yourself that people, sometimes they overlook and look at it as negative because of how we look and, how we sound, how we express it. But at the end of the day, written on paper, you get the same meaning, of expression from others.
Okay. Tell us about the tape game.
Woo.
The mixtape era.
Man, the mixtape era. If I knew a lot more, I was so young, man.
What was it good about it exactly for the whole culture?
What was it showed the underground, it was the Underground Railroad for music. You know what I mean? It was the Underground Railroad where if you want to really get out, man, you have to go out and connect. So if you were an up and coming artist, right? And back then you made it on a cassette tape, that means you were doing your groundwork. Because you weren't on here Instagram and texting people. You have to go out there and find your avenues and know what you're going and cultivating and growing those seeds. So if you made there, you deserved to be there. You know what I mean? You put in whatever work it was. You know what I mean? So it was stronger. It's like the cars that they make now and then. You know what I mean? You get hit now and bam, falls apart and shit like that. Ain't nothing being withstood. You know what I mean? It's not as wholesome as, you know, because they don't appreciate the footwork, the mud that you got to go through. Everything's so accessible now. Back then it was more, you know, it was really appreciated.
Is it important today to be signed on a major label as an artist?
Today, being signed, it's not as important as back then. You know, everything's at your fingertips. Once again, everything's at your fingertips. Your audience is already here. They've always been here. It was just for you to reach out and touch them. You know what I mean? For your thought, there's a million other people. The world's so fast. There's a million people who's thinking it was just waiting for you. A million people's waiting for you. You know, you just got to give them what they want. You know, so everything is so easy accessible. You can put yourself right at the forefront and go directly to it, and not, you know, you can make buku bucks, and you know, it's not always about the money, but just in perspective, you can make a lot of money just on your platform. You know, because it's you. You give them the entire package, one shot. But record labels back then, it was fun. You know, the reason why people, in my honest, straight up opinion, I think people want to get signed back then to record labels just to have, like, you know, like you have like Mr. in front of your name, Def Jam over your name, or such and such, just to say I made it to this basketball team. You know what I mean? But you are the one who's doing the work. For real.
After 40 plus years today, like hip hop, like I said, is like the only culture that the whole world has in common. But every 4 to 5 years, we have a new wave of artists coming, new sound, new touch. We reach out to a point where, like I was saying, the creativity is not there no more, the respect is not there no more, the message is gone. We're trying to gather all three continents together in one to get back to what it